I complain at least, and there's reason to be concerned about the loss of our liberties and the loss of our privacy, but there's still enough freedom in this country for us to compete. Freedom to come to a school like this, freedom to come to a rally like this, freedom to communicate through the internet. But there was a time, several decades, there were 3 major networks. And if you didn't break through there, you didn't have a chance at all. So now I see this as a tremendous opportunity, and the internet and this modern day communication is really a political neutralizer and equalizer. And so this is very good. And there's reason that we have this, for this opportunity, we have to make use of it. That is, if we're concerned. Now, if you're satisfied with what you have, you don't have to do much, because the momentum is in the direction of bigger government, more taxes, more regulations, more war, more loss of liberty. So if you endorse the opposite, then we have to look elsewhere. But we've gotten ourselves into this mess, both financially and in our foreign policy, because we've performed one serious mistake, and that is we've ignored our Constitution, which means if you want to get back to the basics, restore the principles of this country and this republic, we have to obey the Constitution. And in many ways, our founders were geniuses. The Constitution was far from perfect. It had some serious flaws at the beginning, but I'm convinced it was the best document as a contract between the people and the government. And yet, not too long after it was established, the erosion started. But I would say that in the last 100 years, there's been serious erosion. But it's more rapid now than ever before. I think our freedoms are disappearing. I think what was happening today is you as a generation are inheriting a mess. You're inheriting a mess. It's overcommitment overseas, overcommitment here at home with an entitlement system, and you'll be inheriting a currency that has no value. The value depends on trust, and the trust is waning, and therefore the value of the currency is going down. So you're inheriting this, and you as a generation will make a decision. But the basic question you have to ask is, what should the role of government be? The founders asked that question, and they came up with a pretty good answer. They said the role of government ought to be but one thing: protect liberty. That's the purpose of government. That should be the And it should be the purpose of all political action, is to protect liberty. Now, some don't believe that should be so limited, because they believe that the government has to do a lot more. The government has to have safety nets. Safety net for the business people, safety net for everybody else for whatever reason. Anybody who has a need needs a safety net. And they've lost conviction that freedom works a lot better than central economic planning. But central economic planning fails. I think one of the reasons why we've gotten a lot more attention this year than this message has gotten in the past is the recognition that government is failing. Because when you have a free society and you have sound money and free markets, you have tremendous prosperity. And we became the freest and the most prosperous country in the world in all of history. But all of a sudden, people are feeling not so rich anymore, and they're realizing that it's based on debt. And it is this recognition that the government fails. I think a good demonstration of the failure of government has to do with how the central government, how our federal government took care of all the victims of the Hurricane Katrina. All of a sudden, we're dependent on the government. The government builds the levees, and the government's supposed to bail out the water when the levees break. And all of a sudden, they didn't do a very good job. They sent a lot of money. I mean, the Congress immediately did what they're supposed to do, appropriate more money. But the job was overwhelming. They said, well, let's pass up some checks because people need some money. So they started passing out $2,000 checks to anybody who got in line. And lo and behold, the lines got long, and the people from outside New Orleans got in line. And then the government discovered it. And they say, oh, they shouldn't have done that because the wrong people got the money. We're going to send them a letter, and we're going to tell them they weren't qualified for that, and we want you to send the money back. And it just doesn't work, but I think it typifies it. Foreign policy. I mean, how successful on foreign policy? We're supposed to spread democracy, but we've been doing that since Woodrow Wilson. Woodrow Wilson was the idealist. He said, we're going to, make the world safe for democracy. But just think of what's happened in the last 100 years. We've had a lot of wars and a lot of killing and a lot of our people dying. And it's because we haven't followed the advice of the Founding Fathers and the Constitution. We don't have authority to police the world. Maybe it's well-intended, but a lot of things are well-intended. But good intentions won't get us anywhere. So we have now followed a foreign policy for all these years, and it's followed by both political parties. And it's interventionism. It's this idea that we can get involved in the internal affairs of other nations, tell other people how to live and what they should do and how they should run their lives. And we'll pretend we're doing it out of the goodness of our heart, but we usually do it only in countries that have oil.